Welcome to Read Alouds with Mrs. Shaver's Pages. Today, we're going to read The Little Boy Who Lived Down the Drain. The Little Boy Who Lived Down the Drain. Written by Carolyn Huizinga Mills. Illustrated by Brooke, Kerrigan. Copyright 2017, Fitzhenry and Whiteside. Sally loved taking baths. It wasn't because the water was full of soapy bubbles, although the soapy bubbles were nice. It wasn't because she had the bathroom all to herself, although that was nice too. And it wasn't because she came out squeaky clean, although she did like being squeaky clean. Sally loved taking baths because she loved talking to the little boy who lived down the drain. He was the best listener in the whole world. She discovered him one day after hearing her mother singing to her bawling little brother. "Ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the drain." Down the drain? How exciting! Sally didn't know anybody else who lived down a drain. There were so many things she wanted to know. Where was the rest of his family? Was he stuck there? What was he doing with that big bag of wool? The next time Sally had a bath, she also had a plan. She waited until the end of her bath after all the water had emptied out, and then she leaned over the drain and shouted, "Hello, can you hear me?" She waited and waited, but there was no answer. She shouted again, a little louder this time, "Hello down there!" "Sally," her mother scolded, poking her head around the bathroom door. "What on earth are you doing in there? Stop making such a terrible racket and put on some pajamas before you freeze to death." Reluctantly, Sally got ready for bed, but she didn't forget about the little boy who lived down the drain. In fact, the very next time she had a bath, she had a new plan. Right below the tap in the bathtub, there was a round metal cover with a small opening in it. Laying flat on her stomach, she spoke directly into this opening. "Hello," she whispered. Then, just a teensy bit louder, but not loud enough to make a terrible racket, she whisper yelled, "Hello!" Her voice echoed as if filling a large space, large enough for a little boy with a bag of wool to live. "Hello, little boy. My name is Sally. Are you all by yourself down there? It must be very lonely having no one to talk to." Sally could almost see the little boy sitting on a small stool in a big hollow room at the bottom of the drain. He was so little that his teeny tiny voice was too teeny tiny for Sally to hear, so Sally did all of the talking. She talked about anything and everything that came into her head, from Brussels sprouts to brain freezes, but she talked mostly about her family. She grumbled about how her brother cried all of the time, and how her sisters never let her play with them because she wasn't big enough, and how her parents didn't pay attention to her because they were always too busy. "No one in my family listens," she complained. "You have no idea how annoying it is. My brother wailing whenever I try to talk. My sisters slamming their door in my face. My mom and dad saying, 'Not right now, not right now.' It's awful." Bath after bath, the little boy who lived down the drain just listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't argue with her. He didn't laugh at her. He let her talk and talk and talk. But after a while, Sally wanted to know what the little boy thought about all of this. She pressed her ear tightly against the opening, but she couldn't hear him at all. She wished he could find a way to answer her. It was hard being the only one talking. "Little boy, I just can't hear you," she groaned, frustrated. She brought her mouth closer to the opening, cupped her hands around it, and said, "I know you're probably trying, but you need to try something different." To her surprise, Sally heard a teeny tiny voice cry back, "Try something different, Red. Try something different? That gave Sally the most marvelous idea. The next time her brother cried all through breakfast and no one could hear anything she said, she stopped talking and shared a piece of her toast with him. He was quiet for 44 seconds in a row. When her sisters refused to let her play dress up with them, she took out her 258-piece set of sidewalk chalk and invited them to draw with her. Together, they made very colorful creations. And when her parents didn't have time to watch her practice her pirouettes or somersault across the living room, she stopped and watched what they were doing instead, like helping her sisters with the dishes, or changing her brother's diaper, or packing her lunch for school. Sally realized that much like her favorite toys, she had to share her parents too. Then, one morning, as she made funny faces at her baby brother, he stopped crying and actually smiled at her. One afternoon, without being forced by anyone, her sisters asked her to build a fort with them, and they even laughed at her jokes. And one evening, her mother and father sat down with her, just the three of them, so she could read a story to them. As the weeks went by, Sally stopped talking to the little boy who lived down the drain. She had too many other people to talk to instead. She wondered if he missed hearing her voice. She wondered if he was sad. She wondered if maybe she should start talking to him again. A few nights later, while she was getting ready for bed, she heard her mother singing a familiar song. "Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane." Down the lane? What a relief! Sally didn't need to worry about not talking to the little boy who lived down the drain anymore. He had moved. The end. Thanks for stopping by. I'll read with you another time.